Do you know what this is? A trash pack. One of the best-selling toy lines of the 2010s. One that arguably put its creators on the map. Now, do you know what this is? This is a MrBeast Lab Swarm. A brand new toy line that serves as a spiritual successor to trash packs, aiming to bring the same magic to a new generation of kids. But there's one big difference. Its name. MrBeast. You see, from the beginning of time, kids have wanted to play. And that's fine. Play is a natural instinct shared by all living things. Humans play, animals play, heck, even plants play somehow. But over the past century, play has evolved from a simple biological instinct into a billion-dollar industry, centered around, well, selling toys. Kids don't just play with rocks anymore. They want the newest, shiniest, most exciting toys. And for the past 40 years, toy companies have followed the same basic formula. Media drives toy sales. In the 1980s, companies would design toy lines first and then create TV shows or movies tagged as entertaining toy commercials. Kids would watch these shows, fall in love with the characters, and want to tell their own stories with these characters. This not only fueled demand, but also created a deep emotional connection. This strategy worked all the way through the 2010s, until suddenly it didn't. New shows weren't getting toy lines, and when they did, the toys flopped. The newer generations weren't interested in traditional media. As the iPad became the kids' favorite toy, their habits shifted. Instead of watching TV, they were glued to YouTube or playing mobile games. And from the ashes of TV, a new trend emerged. YouTuber toys. On paper, it makes sense. Kids aren't watching TV anymore. I mean, I can't remember the last time I sat down to watch actual television, but I do watch YouTube every day. One of the first companies to recognize this shift was Jazzwares, as they launched Tube Heroes, a line featuring Minecraft-style figures based on popular YouTubers like KSI, DanTDM, and Sky Does Minecraft. And yes, we will come back to this later. But despite the big names, Tube Heroes was short-lived. Actually, it sold quite poorly. However, the idea of YouTuber-based toys stuck, because that's where the audience was. Soon, more and more YouTuber toys hit the market. Vinyl figures, construction sets, dolls, you name it, they made it. But the only brand who consistently found success was U2's. Their secret? Scarcity. They produce limited runs, creating a sense of urgency. If you liked the creator, you had to buy their figure fast, because once they sold out, that was it. And for a while, I thought this is how companies would handle content creator toys. Keeping production small, because even if a creator has 10 million subscribers, there is no guarantee those fans would actually buy a product. You see, manufacturing is expensive. Tooling alone can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Would a company really take that risk without knowing if demand truly existed? Exactly. That's why most toy brands choose a different route. Instead of making entire toy lines based on influencers, they simply use them as marketing tools, sending them free toys or paying them to promote a product. But what if a creator was big enough? Not just popular with kids in the US or the UK, but a globally recognized figure, no matter where you were in the world. Enter Moose Toys. But before we continue, if you're enjoying the video, please consider dropping a like and subscribing. I just launched this channel, and hitting 100 subs in the first month would be pretty dope. Alright, back to the video. So, what is Moose Toys? Founded in 1985 in Melbourne, Australia by Brian Hammersfeld, Moose Toys started as a small, family-owned business. In its early days, the company focused on novelty toys and small collectibles. But over time, Moose built a reputation for creating unique, innovative products that resonated with kids. Their first breakthrough came in the early 2000s with Mighty Beans, a highly collectible toy line that became an international sensation. The success of Mighty Beans put Moose Toys on the map and set the stage for even bigger products like the Trash Pack. Launched in 2011, the Trash Pack took the blind bag collectible trend to a whole new level. These small rubbery figurines were designed to look like hilarious, gross-out versions of garbage-themed characters with names like Putrid Pizza and Soggy Tomato. Each figure came packed inside a tiny trash can, adding an element of surprise and fun to every purchase. And they were a massive hit. Not only were they affordable, but they also tapped into the craze for small collectible toys with different levels of rarity, just like Mighty Beans before them. The gross-out factor made them even more appealing, especially to boys who love the quirky designs and ridiculous names. And for the next few years, the brand kept growing, expanding into playsets, trading cards, video games, and even construction sets. At its peak, the Trash Pack was one of the best-selling toy lines in the world. But as with all trends, what goes up must come down. By the mid-2010s, the Trash Pack was no longer the fresh, exciting toy it once was. The market had become more flooded with blind bag collectibles, and kids were moving on to the next big thing. Moose Toys saw this change and shifted focus, putting more energy into Shopkins, a toy line that became widely popular among young girls. Heck, Shopkins even won Best Girl Toy of the Year at the Toady Awards, completely overshadowing Moose's other brands. And as the years went on, Moose continued launching new toy lines, some similar to Trash Packs, others totally different, but none of them reached the same level of success as Trash Pack and Shopkins. These weren't just toy lines, these were decade-defining brands. And now moving into the 2020s, Moose needed another brand that could connect with today's generation of kids. Enter Beast Lab. Launched in 2023 as the next step in toy innovation, Beast Lab was envisioned as Moose Toys' next big thing, combining creativity, science, and play in a way that hadn't been done before. Its first product, the Beast Lab Beast Creator, put the kids in the role of a mad scientist, tasked with saving the world by creating powerful beasts in their lab. And honestly, the concept was awesome. There were 4 types of Beast Creator sets: the cats, the dinos, the reptiles, and the sharks. And when you bought a pack, you had to mix in special ingredients to create your beast. This added a fun roleplay mechanic and an element of surprise, since each set had 2 possible beast variations, which would only reveal themselves during play. But it wasn't just about the process, the figures themselves were also fantastic. Each beast had multiple points of articulation, built-in play features, and sound effects, making them high-quality action figures in their own right. As a whole, Beast Lab was an innovative idea. Instead of simply selling another toy line of animal-themed action figures, Moose prioritized the experience, or what I call the joy of discovery and the excitement of creation. But that level of innovation came at a cost. Compared to other 7-inch action figures, the Beast Creator had a much higher price point, making it a tougher sell to some parents. Still, Moose had high hopes. This was only the beginning. They had a whole campaign lined up called Save the World, complete with animated content to bring the story to life, and they weren't stopping there. More products are already planned for 2024. Enter the BioMites. At the 2024 London Toy Fair, Moose Toys revealed to retailers a brand new addition to the Beast Lab lineup, the BioMites. According to Moose, these were pocket-sized, chaotic collectibles designed to empower children to engage creatively by using its unique fizz compound to create and reveal miniature beasts. Each one came packaged in a test tube, and they featured different rarity levels, including special hardheads and the ultra-rare Alpha Shark as teased on the packaging. In many ways, Moose was trying to recapture the magic of the Trash Pack for a new generation. The figures had a similar aesthetic, they came in eye-catching packaging, and honestly, the designs were incredible. They went beyond the gross-out concept of Trash Pack, blending creatures and technology with bold colors and unique themes. Moose clearly believed in BioMites, as they were planning for a June 2024 release. And by December 2023, the figures were already in production, with molds and packaging finalized. Everything seemed set up for success. But then, the holiday sales came in, the results of which were quite disappointing. The Beast Creator had flopped. Despite glowing reviews from toy media, the product failed to grab mainstream attention, and by early 2024, you could already find it in clearance aisles for over 50% off. Still, most believed in the product. The figures were great, the concept was fresh, but that wasn't enough, because in the toy industry, having a good product is only half of the battle. The real challenge is getting kids' attention, and Beast Lab simply didn't stand out. But what if you could cheat the system? What if you could slap someone else's name on the product? A name so big, it would guarantee kids would notice. Enter MrBeast. On January 25th, 2024, the final day of the London Toy Fair, Moose Toys made what they called a beast of a partnership. They had officially teamed up with the biggest influencer in the world, Jamie Donaldson, aka MrBeast. Now, MrBeast had worked with toy companies before. He'd done collaborations with Hasbro, U2s, and other brands. But this was different. Moose didn't need Jimmy's creative input, or his cast of quirky friends. They just needed his name and face on the box. Why? Because Beast Lab wasn't enough. As unique as the Beast Lab concept was, it didn't stand out. Executives realized that if it continued releasing Beast Lab product as planned, it would have just been another toy line collecting dust on shelves after Christmas. But there was a problem. The 2024 products were already in production. They couldn't just cancel everything and start fresh. They had to retool. And so in July 2024, MrBeast Lab was officially announced, featuring 5 new product lines. MrBeast Lab Mutators, a smaller, more affordable version of the Beast Creator, MrBeast Lab Collector Figures, Humanoid Beast action figures but without the role-playing gimmick, MrBeast Lab Stretchy Heroes, a MrBeast version of Gujitsu figures, MrBeast Lab Vinyl Figures, and finally, MrBeast Lab Swarms, a direct repackaging of BioMites, though they did completely overhaul the brand's visual identity. Instead of the Alpha Predator theme, they turned the MrBeast logo into the mascot, giving it a more playful and energetic feel. The molds were recolored to match the MrBeast aesthetic. Even the test tubes got a fresh new look. The reaction? Mixed. Retailers loved it. To them, MrBeast was a proven brand that could move product, just like he had done before with Feastables. But for casual fans like us, we were confused. The toy line really wasn't about MrBeast. It was just his name slapped onto something that already existed, with the Panther taking center stage. And for the trash bag community, this was a total disappointment, since they had been wanting Moose to bring back the brand in some way, and this signaled a completely new direction. But with all that said, is the product any good? Well, kinda. Now, I'm not really interested in the other MrBeast Lab toys. To be honest, they just look like kinda generic action figures. But what did caught my eye were the MrBeast Lab Swarms. Just like BioMites, they came in test tubes where you pour water in, shake it up, and release the beast. Surprisingly, I like them. The beasts themselves are well executed. Like I mentioned before, most of these weren't designed with MrBeast in mind. Even the types of beasts are the same as BioMites. The only real difference is instead of whatever this was, they now have a Panther mascot slapped on the branding. Now, as someone who didn't grow up with trash packs, but thanks to my best friend, I've grown to appreciate them in a profound way, honestly, I really like what Moose made here. It's cheap, it's affordable, and it's highly collectible. It opens the door for all sorts of games kids can create with these. It does everything a great toy should do. And after talking to folks in the trash bag community, they seem to agree. The product itself is fantastic, but the name attached to it, that's the problem. And while I don't think it's a full-blown problem yet, it's definitely a direction the toy industry seems to be heading towards. And that makes me uncomfortable. Because after the 2024 holiday season, one thing became clear. MrBeast Name saved the Beast Lab toy line. Even though he had almost nothing to do with it, over the past few months, I've seen it firsthand. I've watched kids walk into Walmart specifically looking for these toys. Just the other day, I was at a hotel and I saw a kid playing with MrBeast Lab swarms on the floor. My nephew even asked Santa for the MrBeast Lab briefcase for Christmas. And when he opened it, his eyes lit up with the same excitement I felt as a kid unboxing the newest Lego set or Ben 10 toys. And MrBeast Lab isn't going anywhere, as Moose just announced a new series of animated shorts which will be premiering in the fall of 2025. As Paul Solomon, CEO of Moose Toys, stated, "We're doubling down on our investment in MrBeast Lab, which has already been our most successful new launch ever." As per Circana, in 2024, MrBeast Lab Mutators earned the #1 spot in the US sales in the entire action figure subcategory for the fall season. And MrBeast Lab Swarms, 2-figure and 5-packs were the #1 and #2 top-selling items in the action figure collectible category during the same period. And just this past Toy Fair, Moose revealed Series 3 for MrBeast Lab Swarms, which looks to be building upon what the first 2 series did. Clearly, Moose believed in BioMites. They knew it could reach the right audience and make an impact. But the original marketing strategy was outdated. They tried to use an old-school 1980s-esque marketing style for a 2020 audience. Fortunately for them, they made a last-minute decision that changed everything. Because, let's be real, if they had released BioMites as planned, the toys would still be great. But almost no one would be talking about them. In fact, most people watching this video might not even realize Beast Lab existed if it weren't for the name change. And that's where my concern comes in. Every year, YouTubers, streamers, and influencers gain more traction among younger viewers. And brands are paying attention. Walk into Target and you'll find an entire aisle dedicated to YouTuber toys. There's Skibbity toilet figures sitting right next to MrBeast Lab. At this rate, it's only a matter of time before some toy company makes a Kai Cenat toy line. And honestly, that would probably sell out. But toy companies aren't thinking about the risks of tying their brands to internet personalities. Because here's the thing, these influencers aren't fictional characters, they're real people. And real people make mistakes. Take MrBeast for example. Just a few weeks after MrBeast Lab was announced, controversy hit. The Chris Tyson situation blew up, the Dogpack 404 series spread online, and I'm sure Moose Toys had a moment of panic. Luckily for MrBeast, things worked out, but that won't always be the case. We've seen this before. Remember Tube Heroes? Jaspers thought a toy line based on popular YouTubers would be an instant success. But it wasn't. And years later, they're probably glad it died out quickly because they definitely didn't want to be a part of the controversies attached to some of these creators. Overall, I really don't know how to feel about this. For over a decade, we've seen companies make YouTuber products. But what Moose did, that's different. And something tells me we're gonna see a lot more of it going forward. Since standing out in a saturated market is tough, but skipping the line and slapping an influencer's name on the product, that's easy. Other industries have been doing it for years, and now it looks like the toy industry is catching up. Is this good or bad? Well, at the end of the day, money talks. If there's money to be made from internet personalities, companies will go after it. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It just is what it is. As a designer myself, I try to look at it from a different perspective, a more human perspective. Like, what if I spent years working on a product line for an influencer, and then one reckless mistake gets my entire project shut down? All that hard work gone. But on the flip side, attaching a big name to a product could be the difference between failure and success. It's a high-risk, high-reward game. And for Moose Toys, it's paying off. But that doesn't mean it always will. So, what does the future hold? Honestly, I have no idea. But I think it's a really interesting conversation. So let me know whatever you're thinking in the comments down below. If there's one thing I'm sure of, is that MrBeast has changed the toy industry. For better or for worse. But hey, these are just my plastic thoughts. Thanks for watching and take care.